morning everyone, my name is Francesca and I will be your tour guide for today. At the moment I'm in the heart of the historic center, best known as Spacca Napoli, which is the biggest in all Europe. Just think about it, our historic center is 17 square kilometers wide versus the Rome Historic Center, which is just 14 kilometers wide, and Milan Historic Center, which is just 9 kilometers wide. Naples is also one of the most ancient cities in Europe, whose historic urban setting still preserves outstanding elements of its long and eventful history. So Naples is kind of a cross-section of different architecture, different artistic styles and different kind of building from several period of time. We had a Greek domination, we had a Roman domination, French and Angevin from the 13th century, and the Spanish Aragonese from the 15th century, and later on the Bourbons and the Austrians. Now we're walking on a 300 years cobble street, whose street parking is based on the Hippodamus of Miletus scheme, which consists of three large streets called decumani. So that's why I'm on the main decumano, which is called Via Tribunali. The decumani go from west to east, parallel to the seaside, and they cross right angle three or several narrow streets called Cardini or Cardi. And today I'm going to show you the most famous Cardine, which is called San Gregorio Armeno. Via San Gregorio Armeno, also known as the Crepe Street, is one of the most lively and hectic corners in the city. One of those gorgeous spots that make you stop walking and turn around to take pictures, where the city master's craftsman creates Italy's most famous nativity scenes. Although it's Christmas all year round here in Via San Gregorio Armeno, because the artisans' shops are open throughout the year, you want to pay a visit in the weeks just before Christmas. This is when the locals come to find that special figurine, animal, or the latest special effect for their family nativity scene. So it's quite ironic and sad if we think that generally this time of the year San Gregorio Armeno is so crowded and so full of life. Napoli is without any doubt the most devoted city to the history and cult of the crepes. Nativity art is a serious business here in the city. Master artisans are specialized in the presepe art, and they pass down their secrets and techniques from one generation to another, to the point that Napolitan crepe art has been considered the quintessence of the Neapolitan spirit. Indeed, here at Ferrigno's famous workshop, the master artisans create incredible and elegant shepherds using only the finest materials, so they actually create unique works of art, similar to those once commissioned by the Naples bourgeois classes. Although the preserve's origin is quite ancient, we could actually say that the Napolitan crepe golden century was certainly the 18th, under the Bourbon reign, a time when Naples emerged as one of the major capital cities in Europe. And during this period, our King Charles III and his son Ferdinand IV brought the presepe tradition back to life, giving it a new light. What's peculiar about the presepe? The king wanted the Napolitan everyday life to be represented in a vivid, authentic, and picturesque way. That's why we can appreciate humble people, such as merchants, artisans, shepherds, fruit vendors, fishmongers, butchers. They all find their place among this colorful and heterogeneous crowd populating the nativity scene. And now let's find out more about the main characters. Among the traveling salespeople, first of all we have the fisherman, which has a clear symbolic meaning. Since the time of the early Christians, the fish was painted in the catacombs as a symbol of Christ and Christians themselves. Then we have the fruit seller selling no-winter products such as grapes, corn, or pomegranates, instilling a meaning of wealth and abundance, and the good luck wishes for the arrival of the new year. Another important figure is the winemaker or the innkeeper, symbolizing the Eucharist, the food abundance, and the pleasure of eating and drinking all together. We can also notice the washerwomen, representing the midwives who helped the Virgin Mary to give birth. The cloth used to clean the little child are miraculously clean and immaculate, symbolizing Mary's virginity and her son's miraculous birth. Over the decades, also two typical Neapolitan tradesmen have become essential members of the Christmas cast. I'm talking about the pizza chef, pizzaiolo in Italian, and the pasta maker, maccheronaro in Italian. Here we have Pulcinella, a Neapolitan theatre mask, represented as a macaroni seller, a symbol of good omen against the fear of famine. According to some stories, even the Spanish viceroy and his wife used to eat macaroni alla napolitana. What does it mean? It means using your hands, or rather three fingers, your thumb, your index, and the middle finger, joined together as if they were a fork, rising the macaroni up and letting them drop in your mouth wide open. It's also worth mentioning movie and music stars, football players, and politicians, which have been reproduced in miniature forms by our craftsmen, who each year choose whips to be transformed into contemporary shepherds, all portrayed with great mastery, fantasy, and also a touch of irony, typical of our Neapolitan people. This tradition may derive from the honor to be reproduced on the presepe in a small scale to fascinate every social class and above all the Grand Tour travelers who would stop in Naples in the 18th century. That's why aristocrats, leading and high-ranking figures desire to be one of the shepherds who populate the Neapolitan Christmas crib. As if we would emphasize that the Neapolitan nativities never actually ceased to be the mirror of the society after all. You can see the British Queen Elizabeth, our Prime Minister, Conte. You can also notice maybe Berlusconi, and over there Trump, the former American President Trump, and the British royal family. And you can notice Freddie Mercury, the famous Freddie Mercury, and right here you can maybe know Ronaldo, the football player. Last but not least, we are the three wise men, Re Magi in Italian, Baldassare, king of India, Gasparre, king of Arabia, and Melchiorre, king of Persia, also known as the Moor. All three coming at the present of baby Jesus riding a horse and richly adorned with pearls and jewels. They represent the world and the time stopping to celebrate the Jesus' birth, while their horses, a white one, a red one, and a black one, symbolize the three moments of the day: night, noon, and dawn. Their journey recalls the path of the stars towards the place where baby Jesus was born, which symbolized the rising sun. They of course arrive followed by a huge procession of slaves, camels, donkeys, and dromedaries. But the main character above all is Benino, the sleeping shepherd boy, who, according to the legend, is supposed to have dreamed the presepe itself. So be careful and don't wake him up, otherwise all the magic will disappear.